Hi there, this is Pauline Messenger, and it's day 2 of Lent, of God in my life. Now, I was going to talk about something different today, but there's been a few things happened this week, and I thought I would explain how God works through me to help others. And this week on Monday is for me, it's washing, it's housework, and I woke up on Monday, and after my prayers and meditation, I had so many words in my head that I needed to write, and I wrote for about 3 hours. And once it was finished, it was about 1 o'clock, and I thought, gosh, this is late. And I went down to the laundry room, and here was one of my neighbours who was quite angry that our day manager was still not in after 4 weeks. She'd lost her dad, and he thought she should have only been off maybe a week. And he said he'd only been allowed 3 days when he'd lost a parent. Well, I had experience. One of my good friends had lost her husband on New Year's Eve. And I met her one day, and she was so upset. She didn't know where his body was. This was over 3 weeks after he died. And whilst I was with her, she got a phone call to say the undertaker had found that he was still in a drawer. His body was still in the drawer in the mortuary in the hospital. And it took another week before they were able to cremate him. So when I explained this to my neighbour, his mood changed completely from anger to understanding. And he says, oh, right, okay. I said, until you've had the funeral, you can't start your grieving. Or you can do a little bit grieving, but it hits home that they're there no more. Yes, you could visit the chapel of rest or whatever, but now they're gone. And she needed an extra week after the funeral before she's coming back to work on Monday. So hopefully, instead of him being very aggressive towards her when she comes back, he will be more understanding, kind, and generous with his thought. And this is what we have to do with others, because our words, every action causes a reaction. So you might think you can get it off your chest and that person will be fine. No. If you've sent negative energy to that person will have a negative reaction to you. Whereas if you are thoughtful and kind, then they will be very grateful for your thoughts and your understanding. And it can make a huge difference. So maybe think the next time, come from the heart if something happens, and if somebody's ill or they're bereaved or whatever it is, come from the heart. So the second thing was, I came out of the laundry and I met Michael, another one of my neighbours. Michael had come to me last year. He'd knocked on my door. He said he couldn't cope with life anymore, and I was very grateful. He felt he could come to me. I invited him in. He told me he didn't have a phone to phone for help, so I made the necessary call to the crisis team, and they said, could I get him to the hospital? And he was actually sectioned later that day. Now, this time, he had finished with the talking therapies, and he said he'd sat and he'd opened the man box with all the pain, the heartache, everything else he hadn't been able to deal with over the years. And unfortunately, in talking therapies, it handed him over to another group. But they couldn't see him for 14 weeks, and he was feeling very down. He was panicking, and he didn't know what to do. And I said, okay, the man box is open. You've now got these things to deal with. And I said, but it's like climbing a mountain. You were standing looking at it with the summit immediately in front and a very steep incline, and you don't know how you're going to get from A to B. But I said, what about if there was an easier path which meandered up the mountain and you could enjoy the scenery while you were on, but you'd still get there without the problem? And I said, maybe God now needs you to start working on it yourself. You've had help for a year, and maybe it's now your time to start and look at things and disentangle them yourself. I said, sit down quietly, maybe say a prayer for guidance, and just sit with your thoughts. Just take one thing at a time. Don't look at the pile, just one thing at a time, and sit and think about it. Get a journal about it. And quite possibly, once you've journaled it, you have got the solution and the pain is no longer there. You have learnt what you have needed to know and why that thing had been in your life. Everything makes us evolve into better people, let go of things what no longer serves us. And when we can cut that cord and give thanks for the lesson learned and be grateful and move on with love and blessings for it being in your life, that's when you will evolve to the next level. And I said to him, quite possibly, if you start doing this now, in 14 weeks when you've got this appointment, you'll have got rid of that pile. You'll have done it yourself. And quite possibly, you can cancel that appointment. But I said, it is time now to do the work. God has carried you for so long, but now he wants you to have a lot of input. You are now capable. You've gone through this year and you've got to take everything you've learned and put it into practice. That was the theory. This is now the practical. And he slowly understood what I was getting at. And I said, no doubt I'll bump into you and I'll find out your progress. But I said, just keep going. And I said, if you get stuck, pray for guidance. You will get it. You'll either get a book, something will come in a magazine. You might hear it on the radio. It might be a podcast. It might be a song. That there could be a film. Something on the TV the other day actually helped me let go of the final thing I needed to. And I thought, wow, I didn't even know that was there. But thank you for that. So it's you've got to become more alert. Tune in to what's going on around you. God gives us hints, clues. Just use it as a game. I love it. Life to me is an adventure and I thrive on it. And these people just seem to come to me. I can turn it round without a problem. And so hopefully if this can help somebody out there, then that's good. Just sit quietly, always have a journal, because things will come into your mind. You'll forget them if you don't write them down. It'll just go like that and you won't get it back. So be aware and be present in the present moment. Start and be mindful of your surroundings, of what is being played in the background, what you're watching on TV. It all helps. And my final thing, which I want to tell you, is I bumped into two people and one was on Monday. It was a cleaner going out who just had a knee replacement, who was still taking quite a lot of painkillers, and the other one was a good friend of mine who died years ago. It was her daughter I met in the coffee shop because I was early yesterday for my appointment. She had just been for an MRI scan because she thought she chipped her hip. And with both of them, I told them that castor oil is excellent for pain relief, healing, and anti-inflammatory. You don't need to be taking paracetamol, ibuprofen, whatever. They aren't good for your body. I know at times, sometimes you have to take them, but if you can rub in castor oil on a night before you go to bed, you will find you will get the relief you need and the healing. So that is all for today. I hope it's helped you, and please follow and like if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. God bless. Sending lots of love and blessings. Bye for now.